recording?
Yes.
Right, so we're taking a walk out. We're looking for some rosemary, but I've brought the devices out with me. And if you look up there, that is a little device attached to the lamppost. And that is a 5G small cell, would you believe? Let's see if we get any data and if anything happens on our meter. So I'll just change the units to... Okay, so we are currently on... Not much really, it's jumping around a lot again. I'll turn the averaging on, that doesn't seem to make much difference. There we are, average. So what, 230, 260, 190 milliwatts per meter squared. So basically, not much at all. So that's probably not even turned on. But I'll try the other device as well now. Here we are. Let's turn this on. And the instructions say to point it towards the source. Well, that's our source up there. So let's do just that. Okay, there we are. Pointed towards the source, and we're getting, what do we see there? 30 milliwatts, 49 square meter. And if I point it down there, we get, what's that? 30. 51. Also, it might be doing something, but no, it's jumping around a bit too much to take a serious reading. Once we take a little bit closer up there, we get 54, 40, and the right pointed down there. Yeah, not much happening there at all, is there? Let's move on. So we walked a bit further down the main road, and we found one of the microcells, one of the 5G microcells attached to a lamppost. Here it is. So that's the antenna there. It's an omnidirectional antenna. There we are. And then that feeds down with some cables into the cabinet, which is just there on the roadside. So these ones, I believe, are actually still turned off. Not actually doing anything whatsoever at the moment. But let's have a look and see if we can find anything, shall we? So we're on average. It's moving around quite a bit again, but again it's really not very much. We're like picking about one. God, what a mess, isn't it? It is all over the place. Let's see if we can hold. Do a max hold. There we are. So 259.3 milliwatts per square meter, and that's nothing at all really. Right, let's look at the other meter now. What do we get from here? So about 14 or 28, 13, not much. And we're pointing it right at the antenna now. And what we'll do now is we'll walk away from the antenna and see it. So we're walking away from the antenna by the road now, and again, we're jumping up and down quite a lot, probably just with people's Wi-Fi access points in their homes, but there wasn't really a massive reading by that antenna on the lamppost there, so I think we can conclude that they are doing nothing. What I expect to happen, they're actually owned by Arqiva. They probably built them, and they've been up for about 2 years now. Would you believe it? Oh, it's peaking a bit there, that's exciting. Probably because of my phone, actually. For about 2 years, and well, absolutely nothing whatsoever has happened. It's very low here, look, we've got pretty much, oh, a bit more. It's flashing again, I'm not sure what the flashing means. Right, let's go and find some rosemary, shall we? Right, we've come to a part of the area now which is notoriously bad for phone coverage, and the readings I took earlier were quite interesting because, of course, I didn't turn my phone onto airplane mode, which is what a lot of people don't bother doing. So the readings you get would be pretty much useless. What we have now is pretty much absolutely nothing whatsoever. That's 0.006 milliwatts per square meter. It's a very quiet RF area here. See the daft little graph here is pretty much down to nothing. What do we get on the crazy meter, which pops around everywhere? It thinks we're on sort of 37 microwatts per square meter, and that's low. That's acceptably low. It's not saying much at all, really. Turn that round. There we are. So it's very, very RF quiet here. What we'll do is walk back down to the end of the road and back down to that little lamppost mounted 5G microcell and take some more readings and see what we can see. Let's do it now. Going to now with that little 5G microcell up there, and we'll get some more readings now, because now our phones are on airplane mode, and we'll see what we get. Let's have a look. See, really very, very little activity here. 0.5, 0.6 milliwatts per square meter. Let's check on the crazy wazy meter and see what we have here. So 500 or so. We're down in microwatts now per square meter, so very, very low readings here, which tells me that that antenna up there is actually doing absolutely nothing whatsoever. So somebody has wasted a lot of money putting these up, and they're doing nothing. Let's move on. So we're back at we're back at the first place where we took one of the little measurements with our phones not set to airplane mode, and up there you see is that little box on the up there. That's the little box on the lamppost. That is a 5G microcell. Let's see if we've got any exciting readings showing. Bearing in mind we're now in an area that's a bit more built up, and so we've got 25 milliwatts per square meter. Oh, it's nothing. Look at that, absolutely nothing whatsoever. Put it down there, and it actually goes up a bit, probably because it's pointing it towards people's houses where they've got some Wi-Fi. Up to there again, and up to 85, but really very, very low readings. It says cell tower down there, which is kind of interesting. So that's, I'm not sure how this works yet and how it derives that information there. But it says it's a cell tower, but well, we're not sure. And usually these devices will have a little light on to tell you that it's working, like a little green light or something. There's nothing there at all, and we're getting very low readings on here. Let's try the crazy machine, which seems to flap around wherever it fancies. There we are. Turn it on, get the backlight on, and it's volts per meter. We don't want volts per meter. We want to have. There we are. So it is like 130. Oh, God, look at that. It's just. I mean, this is pretty much useless, really, isn't it? In that mode, average mode. Yeah, again, it's extraordinarily low. Not much happening there at all. Okay, let's. I think we've got some rosemary, so we're going to go home now and get the lamb on. Well, we're back indoors now. We've managed to get some rosemary for the lamb, and we checked out these meters here to see how they performed outdoors, and there are a couple of interesting things that we learned. One is that the orange meter, this one here, is still jumping around everywhere with the readings, whereas this one here is fairly stable. And they're also both pretty much completely different in the readings they take, which is, I find, a bit concerning, because you'd expect two meters that claim some quality next to each other would actually take some fairly decent readings. But at least the lamb is now in the oven. We would have put some more herbs in, but I just didn't have the time. Anyway, moving on. I have a wee cold beer here. I was looking at the instruction manual here for the orange meter, and I opened it up, and inside dropped out a little bit of paper here. Let's have a look at this paper. It claims to be a certificate of calibration. It says, this certificate guarantee that the product has been inspected and tested in accordance with the published specifications. The instrument has been calibrated by using equipment which already calibrated to standards traceable to international standards. Yes, there are no international calibration standards. You calibrate some equipment and you get a certificate and that tells you how it's been calibrated, so that's just a bit of nonsense. But we'll move on. So it's been calibrated, and that kind of indicates that it should be compliant with the specifications that are in the instructions here. Let's see if we can find those, shall we? Standards, no. Features, specifications, here we are. So resolution, setting time, typically 1.5 settings, sample rate 3 times per second, units, display value, calibration factor. That sounds a bit concerning. Here we are. Okay, so measurement range. CW, that means continuous wave. That is a stable signal that doesn't change. Greater than 50 megahertz, 38 volts per meter to 11, or 38 millivolts per meter to 11 volts per meter. But what we're looking at is this here, so 0.001 microwatts per square centimeter to 32.33 microwatts per square centimeter. Of course, it gives the readings in, I think, per square meter, so we'd have to convert that. Absolute error, okay, 1 volt per meter, 2.45 gigahertz, plus minus 1 dB. That's okay for a bit of cheap kit, I suppose. Okay, so this is the interesting bit. Frequency response, taking into account the typical cal factor, whatever, that's what we saw earlier, which is a bit dodgy, because if you're going to change the calibration factor, how is it calibrated? Okay. So it's plus or minus 2.4 dB from 50 megahertz to 1.9 gigahertz, plus minus 1 dB from 1.9 gigs to 3.5 gigs. Okay, I mean, plus minus 2.4 dB, that's quite a lot. If you consider 3 dB is double the power, plus minus 2.4 dB is quite a large margin of error. So that's not very impressive. So it might have been calibrated, but it's been calibrated to a bit of a crap standard. The other meter here, the EMF-390, I'm pretty sure I couldn't find the specifications in here. Maybe I just missed it because I read it too quickly. Oh, here we are. What does it say here? Nope. But what else did we learn from the video? Well, it seems that what were supposedly 5G base stations mounted on the lamppost, they're not turned on because we get no high readings when we're near them. The high readings we do get are when we move close to houses that probably have Wi-Fi routers in, people with phones, etc. We also learned the silly rookie mistake. So the first readings I took, myself and my son had our phones on, not actually doing anything, but they were on not on airplane mode, so they were potentially talking to the base stations, because, you know, they'd be like checking for emails, for WhatsApp messages, all that kind of stuff, just general chitter chatter. Not much, but enough certainly to put our readings out. So when you see people, and I've seen people do this on YouTube videos, they will have their meters and they'll be taking readings in the car and saying, oh, it's appalling here, it's next to this base station, next to a playground, whilst they are live streaming to Facebook. So what do you think they're measuring? Well, they're measuring mostly the output from their phone. So make sure your phone is on airplane mode when you're taking readings. So for now, that's about it. What I'll do now is we'll do some separate videos on the individual meters. We'll start with this one here, and we'll just go through the features, the functions, and put it into a fairly RF quiet environment and run some tests and see how accurate it really is. So that was a quick intro to these two meters here, the TENMARS TM-195 and the GQ EMF-390. We took them out of the box, had a look at them. I've got to say, they are actually, they're quite nicely built. They feel like they're quality bits of kit. The calibration, that is how it's been configured and tested to be accurate and precise, is not good. The EMF-390 has no calibration details and no details about what actually its accuracy is going to be, so it could be absolutely way off. This one here does come with a calibration certificate, which, you know, I suppose we can believe it. It's in the packaging, but the specifications it's calibrated to are pretty poor, actually. So we've got 2 meters here that look good, but actually they seem to be pretty bad. But we'll find out in the next video. I hope you've enjoyed this quick intro to these 2 meters. I've got some more on the way, which I will also test. Please like and subscribe if you thought this was interesting. If you have any meters you want me to look at, please let me know what they are in the comments below and I will try and get some. I will put some links to these meters in the descriptions below, but I'll see you next time.